That blinking light on your furnace is not the furnace dying. It is the furnace telling you exactly what went wrong in a code if you know how to read it. The control board ran a check, something failed that check, and now it is flashing the result at you through the little window on the front. So before you panic about a big repair bill, understand this. 5 of the codes people search the most, 13, 14, 31, 33, and 57, do not point to 5 different disasters. They all point to just 3. Once you can see that, the whole thing gets a lot less scary. But there is one trap you have to clear first, and almost every article online walks right past it. A code number by itself means nothing until you know the brand of your furnace. The same 13 means one thing on a Carrier and something completely different on a Rheem. So step 0 before you decode anything is figuring out who made the unit and how it talks to you. Most gas furnaces put a small light on the control board behind the lower blower panel, usually behind a little sight glass so you can read it without opening anything. A steady glow or a quick flicker during a heat call is normal, so do not panic at every blink. It is the slow counted pattern that is a fault code. On a Carrier, a Bryant, or a Payne, which are all the same furnace wearing 3 different badges, the code is 2 digits told in flashes. Short flashes are the first digit, long flashes the second. 1 short, then 3 long is a 13, 3 short and 1 long is a 31. It repeats in a loop, so watch it cycle a few times before you trust the count. Other brands speak a different language. A Train or a Rheem just blinks a plain count, with no short and long business, and a Linux shows letters and numbers on a screen instead of flashing. The codes here, 13, 14, 31, and 33, are the Carrier family numbers, and 57 is one you mostly see on Rheem and on the newer communicating boards, the smart ones that talk to a wall thermostat. I will flag where the meaning flips by brand as we go. Now let us sort these 5 codes into the 3 things that actually break. The first group is the simplest. The furnace will not light. That is code 14 on a Carrier, an ignition lockout. What happened is pretty simple. The furnace ran its startup sequence, tried to light the burners a few times, never confirmed a flame caught, and shut the gas off as a safety move. After about 4 failed tries, it locks out, then usually tries again on its own in an hour or 3. You can also reset it by cutting power for a minute. The number 1 cause of code 14 is almost embarrassingly small. It is a dirty flame sensor. That is a thin metal rod next to the burners, and its only job is to confirm a flame is really there by sensing a tiny electrical current. Let grime build up on it, and it stops sensing that current, so the board thinks no flame caught even though the burner's lit fine, and it shuts down to be safe. Cleaning the rod with light sandpaper or a scouring pad fixes a huge share of no light calls, and it costs nothing. If cleaning does not hold, the next suspects are a worn-out igniter, the part that glows to light the gas and tends to crack on a cold morning, or a gas supply problem like a closed valve or an empty propane tank. Honestly, code 14 is the furnace being honest with you. It tried, it could not, and it told you so instead of pumping raw gas into your house. One note for Rheem owners: on a Rheem, 14 flips completely and means an unexpected flame where the board sees fire when there should not be any. The same number, the opposite problem. This is exactly why the brand comes first. The second group is overheating, and it covers 2 of your codes at once, 33 and 13, because they are the same problem at 2 different stages. Code 33 is a limit circuit fault. A high limit switch watches the air coming off the heat exchanger, and when that air gets too hot, it trips and cuts the burners. The furnace is overheating because not enough air is moving across the heat exchanger to carry the heat away, and the number 1 reason for that is a dirty air filter. A clogged filter starves the blower, the heat has nowhere to go, the temperature climbs, and the limit switch does its job and shuts things down. Code 13 is that same fault after it has happened too many times. If the limit stays open more than 3 minutes or trips around 10 times in one heating call, the board gives up and locks out fully. So 33 is the warning, and 13 is the furnace finally throwing its hands up. I will be blunt here. Resetting a furnace that keeps throwing a 33 without changing the filter is just paying the same bill twice. It will trip again, and you are slowly cooking the equipment in the meantime. So the fix for 33 and 13 starts cheap. Start by changing the filter. Open every supply register and make sure return air is not blocked. A surprising trigger here is people upgrading to a thick, high MERV filter their blower simply cannot pull air through, which chokes the system and trips the limit. If the filter is clean and the registers are open and it still trips, you are looking at a tired blower motor or a bad switch. And on a Rheem, a 13 means a lost flame, not overheating, so that is a different road entirely. There is one version of this group you should not touch yourself. On that same circuit sits a rollout switch, and if that tripped, it is serious. A rollout means flames are rolling out of the burner box instead of being pulled into the heat exchanger, which points to a blocked flue or a cracked heat exchanger. That is a carbon monoxide conversation, not a filter one. If your code traces to a rollout, shut it down and call a pro. The third group is about draft, and it covers your last two codes, 31 and 57. Both live on the pressure switch. Before the furnace lights, a small motor called the inducer spins up to pull combustion air through and push exhaust out the vent. A pressure switch confirms that draft is really happening before any gas is allowed to flow. No proven draft, no gas. It is there to stop exhaust from spilling into your house. Carrier code 31 means that switch did not close, or it closed and then dropped out. Something is wrong with the draft or the venting. The usual suspects, cheapest first, are a blocked vent or intake outside, often snow, ice, or a bird nest over the pipe, then water pooling in a sagging section of PVC vent, then a clogged condensate trap on a high-efficiency unit where water backs up and chokes the draft, then a cracked or disconnected rubber tube on the switch. The motor and the switch itself are the last and priciest suspects, not the first. That brings us to code 57. I went looking for 57 on the standard Carrier 2-digit list, and it simply is not there, which is the brand trap I warned you about at the start. It shows up mainly on Rheem and Rude furnaces where it is a pressure switch fault, and on some of the newer communicating boards. Different badge, same family of problem. You chase it the exact same way you chase a 31, by checking the vent, the trap, and the tubing before you ever blame the switch. And this is the one place I will raise my voice a little. People on the repair forums describe the same 31 call over and over. The code keeps coming back, a tech swaps the pressure switch, and it returns anyway. Because the real fault was a half-inch of water in a low spot of the vent, or a gunked-up condensate trap all along. Whatever you do, never jumper or bypass a pressure switch to force the furnace to run. That switch is the only thing standing between a blocked flue and carbon monoxide in your living room. So here is your move when the light starts flashing. Do not cut the power yet, because some boards forget the code when you do. Count the pattern first and write the number down. Match it to your brand. If it is a Viocin, clean the flame sensor. If it is a Dry-on-Drysic or a Dryson, change the filter and open the vents. If it is a Ein-on-Drysic or a Sieben-on-Fünfzig, walk outside and check the vent, then check the condensate trap. Those free moves clear a real chunk of these calls before a technician ever charges you a dime. Reset the furnace once after you have actually fixed something. A reset is a one-time pardon, not a repair, so if the code comes right back, the cause is still there and it is time to call someone. And the moment a code points at a rollout switch, a cracked heat exchanger, or a gas smell, skip all of it and get a pro out the same day. Check the description for the filter sizes, the flame sensor, and the inexpensive parts mentioned here so you can have the right one in hand before you open the panel.